Boom! Look at that. I'm getting better at this timing thing. I got a mic on. I got lighting that's working. You would think I know what I'm doing. Really, I'm not. I'm promising you. Every time I fumble through this and I fat finger a button or I turn off a light or I click something I shouldn't. So see, if I can do this every week, you can do it too. I'm telling you, you can totally do this. So how's everybody doing today? We are here with another amazing edition of Tuesday with Todd. This is the April 12th edition. This is a fun one. I think this is going to change kind of the way we're doing up some shows in the future, because I was asked, hey, can you bring some other people on after this? So we have some people in queue that we're going to reach out to, and I'm just super excited. Like, are you excited? Are you excited for all of this? Are you excited to take in these knowledge bombs that are going to be dropped? I mean, get your pad and paper ready, folks. And if not, hey, you can always watch the replay. So you know what to do when you get here. This is what we need. Where are you from? And what's the weather like? Now for us, guess where it is? It's still cloudy. You know, it's been cloudy. I swear, I don't think I've seen the sun, but maybe once for about 4 minutes 3 days ago. I do know it's there. There was this big orange fireball. I had to Google it. Google told me it was called the sun, and it was amazing. But it was not able for me to be enjoyed. I'm waiting for it. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to drop the intro. During the intro, you're going to comment. You're going to tell me where you're watching from. If you're watching Team Replay, that's your chance to put it in there. Then we're going to get right into our news and notes, and then we're going to bring on our special guest. So without So that one I still have to work on. That one is cut off a little, and I got to figure that out. But you know what I do? I get better each time. You know what? Do you have an intro video? I still need an outro video. I had somebody help me with that. But where that was made at was in this magical thing called Canva, right? I know we've talked about Canva. And remember, I was a big dude, we're not Canva people. This is not us. You know, that kombucha. I'm not one of those people either. I tried drinking that. I thought I was going to die. You know, I'm trying to get healthier, so I will try anything. But I will not try that again. That was not for me, folks. It was not for me. It should have been, but it wasn't. So I totally almost went blank, but I didn't, because the screen came back up, and that was amazing because we were talking Canva. Remember, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, center of the universe, because that's where I am. We have Unlock Canva. Now that one is going to be only $5. Only $5. Like, think about it. That's less than a number one at McDonald's, and I guarantee you will not poop it out tomorrow. Guarantee. I guarantee if you spend $5 in this training, you will not poop it out tomorrow. I'm just telling you. You know, that's what we do here. Now, if you want to sign up for that, just head over to OurSuccessGroup.com/clubOSG. Sign up. It is only $5 there. Something else that we have coming up is you're going to hear us push on this. We've been really growing this community over here at Volley. I know, what's this Volley, right? So picture like Discord, and if you're not knowing what Discord is, okay, so picture old school party line. Remember 80s, 90s party line where you get in, everybody would talk? It's kind of like that, only it's video, and it's all sequential timeline, so it's one person after the next. But it's been a really great, fun way to communicate with others in our industry and many others. There's been a lot of great information, a lot of great conversation there. Today we had some conversations about dealing with, little hard clients, the little PETA customers. We do run into those. So there's a lot of great challenges that come with that. So how can we, make that better? Is it the process that we're doing? Is it the process you're doing? How can we take that stress out of it? When we can take that stress out of that stumbling block, that roadblock, whatever you want to call it, it makes it a more seamless and easy transaction. And that's what we want to do. Remember, at the end of the day, we are solution providers, right? Somebody needs something, we're going to provide the solution for them. That's what we are. So come on over to Volley, and we are going to have some amazing conversations to keep going on from there. Next up, if you did not know, next weekend is DAX Chicagoland. Remember, this is where OSG was born. And so it is very near and dear to my heart. I would love if you were within the 5 hours of the Chicagoland area. There is no reason for you not to be here. Why do I say 5 hours? Because that's my limit to drive. If you're within 5 hours, if trade show's within 5 hours, I'm going to it. This one is going to provide some amazing information for you. It give you a chance to actually feel what a trade show's like. I know it's been a couple years since we've actually seen one, felt one, whatever. Get out there and do it. And yes, it'll probably be smaller than normal. But you know what happens when shows are smaller than normal? It gives you a bigger opportunity to get in there and actually talk with the vendors. The bigger thing is it gives you a chance to network with others. Now, if you don't know the story, remember, OSG was born at the after party for Buffalo Wild Wings, which is why we continue on the tradition. That's 7, 8 o'clock after party there. But the networking, I have met some of my nearest and dearest friends through networking and through these trade shows. In fact, half of our wedding party traveled to Mexico with us when we got married. And where did they come from? Hey, they came from this industry. We met at trade shows. Crazy, I know. And the one thing that I think will carry over from everybody is how many of you can talk to your friends and tell them about, this really bad piece of artwork come through. I asked for a PNG and they gave me this JPEG that was 30 DPI. They're going to look at you like you're nuts, right? Well, guess what? We don't do that because we understand that. We know what that means. And so when you can create that group of networking, man, great things can happen to you. Let's check in with some of our comments and see what is going on in here. So what do we got in here? We got Darren. Darren always makes sure he's the first one here. I hope no house is burning down or anything, and Darren stopped to do that. But Darren, thank you for coming in. As always, what's up, Chuck? That's my favorite one to say. I don't care. It's my favorite one to always say. It always will be. Renee, hello, Renee from overcast and warm Chicagoland. Yeah, it is just overcast. I'm done with it. I'm done with it. We got the Rhinestone World treat. We got the Rhinestone World chiming in, and that's TRW Pilar. Pilar, thank you for coming in. Eric, overcast in lower BC too. Eric, that's just kind of normal up there, right? It's like rain or overcast every time we talk anymore. It's like here. Aren't we getting tired of it? Are we getting tired of it? Yeah. Shh, don't tell anybody Pilar's on the TRW account, but we'll let it slide tonight. What did she say? Yeah, she's trying to switch. She's trying to switch. No, she's not. She's staying there. Kelly, our very own Crystal Ninja, thank you very much for chiming in there. Don't forget, crystalninja.com. Head over there. You want to see some amazing rhinestone work? Ooh, you want to buy supplies to make amazing rhinestone work? You want to buy a tool that now has 6 patents for applying those rhinestones? Woo! You better head over there to the crystalninja.com. I'm telling you, there's a lot of great things over there. And if you're in the San Diego area, little birdie tells me that if you go to their website, that there are classes going to be available. Ooh. So now you can go learn from the master. The #1 artist for Swarovski. Oh, I can't say that word anymore. I almost said it. I know we can't say that word anymore. The #1 stone artist that I believe in the world, until somebody can prove me wrong, and then we're going to have a battle. We're going to have a battle. That's what we're going to have. Yeah, a bling battle. Kelly, what do you think about that? Bling battle. You'll take on all comers, won't you? No, she won't. You want to know why? Because she loves to teach. So make sure to check out her channels. You can find her on YouTube. You can find her TikTok. You can find her. Where can you not find that woman? She is everywhere. And her team of Ninjineers are amazing over there. So make sure to go check them out as well. And Eric, yeah, YouTube is acting up today. I don't want it. I don't want YouTube to act up today. Because if it does, then we're going to have issues. But remember, we are in multiple locations. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us a lot of different places, which reminds me, there is a couple of things up here where it doesn't look like it is necessarily playing at, which is interesting. Ooh, very interesting. So if anybody could go into the Business Success group, the Business Basics group, and share the link, much, much appreciative, because for some reason it does not look like it is playing there. So if you can go do that for me, I would really love that for you. All right, Val. Excited to hear some wisdom. We're gonna hear some stuff drop. We are really gonna hear some stuff drop. Jose, thanks for stopping in. Snowing again in Idaho. No, I'm over this. I'm over this ring or winter. The sprinter. I'm over the sprinter. I'm moving somewhere where there's sun. I'm not, because I got to move somewhere where there's sun, where shipping is still logistically makes sense. So I got to stay like middle somewhere. Florida, maybe. No, we're gonna go there. Sandy, thanks for stopping in. I won't tell anybody. Keep saving lives, Sandy. Keep saving lives. That's what you're going to do. It's always warm and sunny in Florida. Thanks, Chuck. Thanks for rubbing that in. Jerry, good to see you. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it as well. And let's see, we get through here. It looks like we've got a lot of you going back and forth. I love the conversation. I love it. At least it's not snowing locally. Living in the part that gets the least amount of snow. Bright side, right? bright side, you live in the best part of Canada by everything I've read, because just for that reason, right? I'll totally take that. Let's see, you're stuck on the work account. I know. I am not going to tell Matt. I promise. I promise. I promise. Sorry if I've ever been a PETA customer. Polar, you have not been a PETA customer. You have been a prime customer, of an amazing customer. No issues with artwork at all, ever. You've been the best customer I've ever had. You have been the best Polar customer I've ever had. I will 100% say that. Curtis, thanks for stopping in. And Tanya, thank you. Ree, good to see you as well. And Aaron, thank you, partner in crime, for checking it out. Oh, it is a beautiful day there in St. Peter's, just like every day. Well, that's because you're there, sir. That's because you're there. Bling Battle, let's go. I'm selling tickets. We're going to get a pay-per-view. We're going to put it on the Twitch. We're going to do everything. Let's go with it. That's what we're going to do. All right. So one other thing that we got before we move on to this amazing thing, we've got... We hit that. I'm checking my show notes just to make sure that we are in here with it. Don't forget, we have for next week's show, we still need to come up with the addition of what we're going to do. I do believe I have an idea. We'll talk about it at the end here. And I think without further ado, I think we're going to bring in tonight's guest. And this is like a legit, like, big one for me. And you want to know why? How many times have I told you guys, be the asshole, right? You have to. You don't know if you don't ask. And if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So Mike started a new channel, and it really touched me. There was a lot of just great killer information in there, and a lot of soul searching. And you might feel a little uncomfortable with tonight's show, and that's the point of it. Business is not easy, right? Everybody deserves to have a successful business, but you have to put in the hard work for it. And if you're not willing to do that, then maybe it's not for you. So just because you deserve to have one doesn't mean you deserve to have one, if that makes sense. But we're going to bring in Mike here. Now, Mike is a husband of 19 years. It's his beautiful wife, Catherine, a father of 4 sons. He's a contractor, an entrepreneur, an author. There, got the book right there. An artist, and a motivated motivator. So, we got a lot of things that align right there. Mike and Catherine now started multiple businesses, including a kitchen and bathroom remodeling, cabinet manufacturing, granite slab countertops, and are known worldwide for being the largest consumer epoxy company, stonecoatcountertops.com. Whoa, right? Now, Mike and Catherine have become world famous, like legit world famous on YouTube, with over 250 million views and 1.14 million subscribers. Let that sink in, right? Let that sink in and just think about what is going to be coming tonight, because hello, that did not just happen overnight, right? They built Stone Coat from their dining table in the living room to generate over $100 million in revenue from their business ventures. Now tell me what's stopping you. Where did you start your business? You didn't wake up with that. You started just like that. There is a reason for this, guys. There is a reason for this. Now, Mike cares most about his 1 and 2, his wife and kids. And he has dedicated his free time to helping others in mentorship for small businesses and working on stuff that changes the world one person at a time. This is going to be why he shares his message with us today. I'm getting choked up just thinking about this, and I cannot wait. So without further ado, Mike, how are you doing, sir?
Good, Todd. Thank you for that introduction, and thank you for the kind words you said in your show last night. I'm excited for this, man. Thank you.
So am I. I am really appreciative to have you on this. I tell people, you don't know if you don't ask. And that's all I did was I just threw a comment up there and said, hey, I said that same thing. You don't know if you don't ask. And now here we are. So to me, I think it's amazing.
Thank you, brother. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. I'm really intrigued by your audience. I'm intrigued by your business model. What you teach is so valuable. And I think there's a lot of hidden gems in podcasts. And what I love about the internet is a search and a deep dive. If you go deep and don't just stop on the first page, but you go deep, you find these gold mines of podcast information and tutorials, and you're one of them. And I know where you're going, and I know you know where you're going. So thanks for having me here, man.
Man, that's so awesome here. We tell people that the rabbit hole of knowledge is crazy. That's why YouTube suggests this, and you're stuck on it for hours, because they know what you want to know, and they just keep feeding you. And if you're there to eat it, they're going to continue with it. So So Mike, why don't you tell us a little about yourself and your journey to get to where we are here today?
Yeah, we talked a little before this started, and one thing that we agreed on is we're going to try to do our best to bring as much value as to your audience. And so everything that I say will be just that. I want people to know that yes, we did start from our dining table. A favorite quote of mine from a good friend of mine named Sean Cannell. He says, overnight success takes 10 years. In our case, it was more than 10 years. You're beating on your craft, you're working, you're learning, instead of watching TV or the football game. I'm learning, I'm studying, I'm growing, I'm building, I'm creating, and those things is what happens behind the scenes. Just like everybody in your audience right now, that's what they're doing. And so we started in the contracting business. I'm a general contractor in California, became a general contractor in Oregon, and we subcontracted for a lot of companies. And then eventually I started doing all of my own work and own jobs as I got better at marketing and finding my own clients and understanding I'd like to control my own destiny instead of what another company is selling. I want to have my own products and services. And so Catherine and I built that remodeling business. She sold the jobs, I fulfilled the sales. And we learned in each and every step. I started painting houses, and then I got on to doing things like cabinetry, fine woodworking, molding, flooring, kitchen and bathroom modeling with the showers, and the whole. I didn't want to sub anything out anymore. I learned how to do plumbing. I learned how to do electrical, drywall, roofing, windows, doors. I learned how to do all the trades because my dad taught me the philosophy at a young age. Yes, you can do it. Just go learn how. Don't say no to the job and be honest. Say, yeah, I haven't done that before, but let's give it a go. And then you get paid training. You get to learn. And so in that struggle, Catherine and I, we're always really frugal with our money, really frugal with what we focused on. But we got a little bit ambitious and right before 2008 and started flipping houses. We would buy a house, we would get a interest only loan on it, APR where it would adjust if the market changed. But we were flipping houses in a month, so we didn't mind that it was so risky of a loan, unbeknownst to us. When my second son was born, he had some problems with his lungs and some other problems happening where his lung collapsed. We had to go to another hospital a couple hours from our hometown. And 2008 timed exactly with that, where the houses that we were flipping, all of our savings, all of our money, everything that we had earned up to that point was in these homes. And the interest rates all changed. Our payments became double. My son was dying in the NICU at the time. Didn't know if he was going to make it, and we started getting the collectors calling, and we started getting all the life-changing things that kind of we had to deal with at that point. And because our son was in the position he was, we didn't care about the finances. We said, let it go. I don't know when I'll be able to pay you. And as we went back and tried to sell them for at least break even, or then even taking a loss, the market was just crumbling. And so we ended up going from a great credit score, great, nice home, nice cars, all financed, over leveraged, and we lost it all. Moved in with my parents, helped my parents remodel their house so that they could try to sell it before it was too late, because they were having some similar issues. And we moved to Oregon because we bought a trailer. It was about 20 feet long. It was and we remodeled that. I got it for $600. I remodeled the whole thing with my wife. We had a couple dogs and 3 kids at the time, and we bought a piece of property, and we moved on that property, which didn't have any electricity at the time, didn't have running water at the time. And I'd go back to California and still do remodel work because there was still remodel work, but I would save the money, come back to Oregon, and build our house out of our pocket because we couldn't get a loan. We got we got a owner carry to take on the Oregon property. So it was very high interest. Most people don't last through an owner carry. They end up foreclosing on it. We built our home there, 1,000 square feet, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. We didn't have running water for 3 years. We used a bucket for our bathroom. We used a creek as our shower. In the winter, we went to the preschool. A lot of famous people out there say I started with $7 in my pocket, or, I had adversity, and there's very few success stories that you'll ever hear that didn't go through massive adversity, and that was adversity. But we also enjoyed the ride. We weren't feeling poor or broke during that time. We were living in a beautiful spot of Oregon, and it was just like camping for us. And in about 3 years, it gets old, but we were camping, and we started our remodel business in Oregon. We moved from California because California, where we were, my son went to a soccer game watching my nephew while my other son was in the hospital, which my other son's fine. He pulled through. He's an amazing kid, very healthy. But during this time, my son was at the soccer game, and a gangster pulled out a gun and shot another man 8 times. My kid was within 10 feet of this guy. And so we decided we're not living in this town in California anymore. Where are we going to move? And we moved to Oregon, and we lived there for a number of years, building our business. We after all of our expenses, we brought in lived on about $25,000 to $30,000, no problem. Our bills were really low. But during this time, I was installing granite for Home Depot, Lowe's, Costco, Sears, Direct Buy, a bunch of big boxes. And I saw what they charged people, and that was a lot of money. I knew I couldn't afford it if I went into Home Depot to get granite. So I wanted to create a system for people to buy a less expensive product that still looked like natural stone. Didn't need to be as nice as granite, but it needed to emulate it, because laminate didn't cut the mustard, and solid surface was kind of going out of style. And I knew there was a market for a product that mainly could go over existing counters. And I got into doing concrete counters that weren't the answer because they broke or they were expensive to manufacture still. And so I discovered epoxy through trying to find top coats for granite at the time, or for concrete. And I discovered the epoxy. And what we called every manufacturer we could find. I tested every consumer product on the market. With any money we generated, we would just try these products. And I wasn't trying this business to sell the product. I was just trying to offer it locally as a contractor to my clients. And I quickly realized the product wasn't in existence that I was looking for. It left hot cups, left rings. It yellowed very, very fast. It got brittle. It fractured. The epoxy technology wasn't where I wanted it. And I got a hold of a company in that search for manufacturers. And this older gentleman gave me the time of day finally, after getting told no countless times over years of trying. I mean, you're literally researching DuPont and going down that rabbit hole. And what happened was, this guy gave me a lot of help. He gave me a chemist, but I had to buy a lot of product to test. And we had to sell a car on Craigslist just to afford more product. And I gave up a number of times, and we actually took all of our samples, put them in a bonfire, and burned them. I mean, gave up. And then my wife encouraged me, honey, you felt inspired, keep going. Don't give up on that. Let's, take a break, keep going. And so over the years, we kept going, and finally found the product that was right through working with this chemist and working with the technology. And I started with one SKU, one product, and we started off our dining room table. My wife was the one who fulfilled the orders because I was still building cabinets to support us. My kids became our shipping department, and my dad was our first employee. So that's the cliff notes of the story. But ultimately, it's adversity like you wouldn't believe. And not sleeping for a lot of years.
And I think that speaks to a lot of how small businesses are. We talked beforehand, and my wife's over here packaging orders as we speak, going through that. That's where a lot of start. You start with what you have, and you grow from there. And the biggest thing is, you didn't stop when somebody said no. You knew what you wanted, and you continued after it. And I think so many people, stop after that no.
Yeah.
That's it. And they stop. I mean, as we also talked, if I would have stopped, I wouldn't have had my wife. We dated in high school, and then 20 years later we're married. I kept on that one. So you have to keep chasing that yes. And
yeah,
that's so hard to do because it can be so defeating. But I promise people, that as long as you keep at it, good things will happen. And I know it's tough, and I know people I think today's society, we want to have something so quick. Amazon changed the way we did stuff, and everybody expects 2-day answers. And there's a lot of not 2-day answers out there, that it's just not the way it is. And you have to take action. You have to take massive action if you want things to happen. If you want big results, you have to take those big risks, and they're scary.
Yes.
Anything, if it doesn't scare you, I don't think you're kind of pushing hard enough for it. It's got to scare you a little, like, because even this, I've been doing this for 4 years now, and before I do every one of them, I still get a little nervous. What's going to happen? How's it going to go? And if that feeling ever went away, I think I'd have to stop, because I love that rush of it. Let's see what happens. Let's go from there. And it's just, I wish there was an easy answer for people, but there isn't.
No.
And then I guess there is. Put in the work, right? Just, you got to put in the work at it. So that's what I like to tell people. You got to put in that work for it. So where are you now? Where's everything? I mean, we didn't get your weather check.
Can I speak to that real quick? Something you just said was, so, putting in the work, but also, you could feel like you're accomplishing a lot by being really, really, really busy, but you could be on that treadmill and you're still in the same place. And so work smart too. And what's beautiful about this time and this window that we all have right now is all of the answers are out there, and it's all actually free. You get to learn how to use Canva. Like that tool that you're about to teach is unbelievable. I use that all the time. All the software, all the tools, it's all available. The marketing's available. The algorithms play to creators, to people like you and I, if we just put in the work to learn how to use it, but also prioritize where that time goes. Don't, do today. I just was on a mentor call this morning. Do today what's going to move the needle today. Do that first. Don't go for your long, what's going to pay the bills right now, right today. Do that first, and then don't go take a break. Keep going. So yes, work is always the bridge between you and success. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm in Hawaii, bro. Like we actually came out here a couple years ago. 3 years ago now. I did a video with the guy out here. His name was Dr. Bob Martin. He has is Dr. Bob Martin. He has a syndicated radio show, national radio show about, health and being a doctor and kind of diagnosing things through his radio show. Really smart individual. And he reached out to me because his house in Hawaii is unbelievable. He got a bid on his countertops for $50,000 to redo his counters. And he's like, no way. He's still a frugal guy. Any business guy, they know value. They also don't want to be ripped off. And $50,000 was too much for countertops. And so he started the search for, what do I do? And he found us, and he reached out and he said, look, dude, I'll fly your team out to Hawaii. I'll put you up in my condo. I'll talk about you on my radio show. Come do and we were way too busy. I couldn't actually go to Hawaii. I couldn't do it. And he was so persistent. He didn't stop asking. And my wife's like, Mike, just go take a break, go out to Hawaii. And when I came out here, I'd been to Oahu. I'd never been to Big Island, and I'm not a city guy. I'm a country guy. I don't like big city. I like visiting. I just wouldn't live there. And out here on the Big Island, it's like North Shore. It's super country, super open. And I fell in love with this place. I called my wife. I said, you got to get out here. We're buying a house here. And thank the Lord, glory to him that we're here, man. And raising my 4 sons here. And this is unbelievable. Very blessed.
I've been following the journey, and it's been amazing. It's one of those things where, when you look at where you came from to where you're at, anything is possible. And so many people, don't want to believe that. And it is, anything is possible with it. And like you said, you have, what now, 1.14 million subscribers over on the Stonecoat channel. And
yes, sir.
Now you just started up the new channel. So
yes.
Maybe tell us some about, the Stonecoat channel and where that is, how it got to where it is, and now why you started the new channel and what you plan on doing with that.
Stonecoat channel honestly started because I was just like you. I went to trade shows. I went to home shows. I actually had most of my success was at like not craft fairs, but like festivals. They would do like a Western festival in my town, and we'd go to a Western festival or go to the Halloween, festival, and they allowed vendors. But anywhere there was people that had homes that owned countertops or kitchens, I had success. And so I learned going to festivals that weren't necessarily geared towards home remodeling. I was like one of the only people there in my niche. And so there was no competition. It's a numbers game. And then it's how well are you with people? And then it's what's your message and what's your hook? What's your thumbnail in that home show? So how's your booth look? And then how do you approach people? And so I learned early on that if I just got in front of people, that if I could show them before and afters, if I could show the story of what I could do for their kitchen or bath or the project I was trying to earn, that a picture was worth 1,000 words, but a video is worth 1,000,000. So if I could show the process in which I'm going to come in your home and turn your counters from this to this, I would always close the deal. And so I learned I would bring that DVD to any bid that I got. So I'd stop them at the home show. I'd get their information. I'd set up a bid. I would go to the house. I would give them the DVD. I'd play it in their computer while I measured their kitchen, and I would sell every single job, and my prices would go up because demand. But I learned that that video is what sold my work. But then I was burning these DVDs by the hundreds. The problem is that it was burning my computers up. Like, it could only write so many DVDs at the time. And I found out about YouTube. I actually found out about YouTube when I had hair. Before I was bald, I was getting my hair cut, and there was a magazine, and it talked about YouTube selling to Google and what it was. And I'd never heard of it before. And I was like, oh, I could upload and send that link to my client before I show up and see if they're still interested, which I know they will be. But now it's I don't even have to measure unless they've agreed to the job at this point. So I just started YouTube because of that DVD pain of burning them. I got the free link, and then I realized I was getting these questions from Wisconsin, from all over the country, if I could come do their project. And I'm in, at that time I was in California, and I'm going, no, I can't go to Wisconsin. And I go, well, wait a second, how can I? And then every home show I went to, my booth would be packed, and every contractor in the local area would be kind of pissed because I'm taking the attention. I learned I was a practitioner of studying attention. What makes them stop? My dad, he helped me. Everybody thought it was granite. They thought my product was granite because at home shows, people know if they make eye contact with you, you're gonna sell them. You're gonna grab them. And so unless they're really interested, they're not even looking. But I made a sign that said, "This is not granite," because my dad told me to. He goes, "Make a sign that says this." I go, "Dad, that's not gonna work." I made the sign. We put it up in front of our booth, and that was my rapport builder. I said, "Hey, did you know this is not granite?" And I point at the sign because if it's on the sign, it's true. So they look. And they go, "Whoa, it's not." And then immediately they touch it. They feel it because everybody sees with their hands. They touch it. They feel it. They go, "Whoa, what is it?" That's all I needed. What is it? Well, it can go over your old existing countertops. Really means you could save money. You can go in fast. You don't have this giant demo. And here's the price. It's the same as laminate. Sold. Done. Now watch this. And by that time, I'm putting videos up on my TV at the home shows. They're closed. Now I got every contractor coming to the booth. Dude, how do you do this? And I won't tell them. I'm hiding it. I got it. I'm doing all the jobs I could ever imagine. And I talked to Catherine. I'm like, why are we hiding this? Why don't we talk to our manufacturer, figure out what they could scale? Can they sell more product? How hard is this? Because I didn't know if they could fulfill it. And we went ahead and made DVDs, back to DVDs. I wanted to make training for contractors that asked that question because they were intrigued. I felt like the need was there. So I made all these DVDs. I made them into a package, and it was $2,000 for these DVDs. And all the home shows I went to over a 2-year period, I sold one set. And that guy bought 1 2-gallon kit from me. And I got so frustrated and so pissed off. I took all of my samples, all my stone coat samples, because I was done with it, and I put it in a bonfire and lit it on fire and gave up. And that's when Catherine was like, "Don't give up." My dad was like, "Don't give up." And I'm not one who chases a loser. I course correct really, really fast. So everything in me was telling me to course correct. But to be honest with you, I'm also a very God-fearing man, and I felt like this was one time in my life that I was inspired to keep going. I felt like it was inspiration, but I was losing that confidence in those feelings. I thought, no, this is just my head telling me, but we didn't give up. So that's why we did that channel. That's why we grew that channel. And I quickly realized that if I got a better mic, if I made better content that was more palatable, it wasn't so boring, if I didn't say the same adjective over and over, if I got better at editing myself where they were shorter, easier to watch, if I got better at tutorials, if I gave the information away for free and quit trying to sell it, but I gave it away, that you have to give to get. Number one, in business, number one, you have to give to get. If you guys gave a free t-shirt, sent that free t-shirt, which I'm sure you teach, I'm sure your audience does, but if you sent that, whatever the company, hey, you know what? If you contacted companies and just sent them cold call, if somebody sent me a Stone Coat shirt and said, "Hey, I make shirts and here it is," I'd quit buying them from Custom Ink and I'd support the little guy just because he's ambitious for the business. Things like that. If you give to get, oh my gosh, that's what we learned. And so we gave it all away. And at the time, I had actually reached out to a company, and I won't use their name, but I reached out to the company. I wanted to buy product from them, and they wouldn't even sell me product because I had to come live and take the training. I couldn't afford epoxy training. I couldn't afford any training, and they were going over concrete with epoxy anyways, old school. I knew better, but they wouldn't even sell me product. I'm going, why am I doing that? And there's a lot more to that story, but the whole point is we once we gave it all away for free, and the better the tutorials, the better our videos. And then what we did is I deemed us, where were we viral? If our average video views was 100 per video and I got 1,000 on a video, I knew that was my virality. It was 10 times my normal. If I had a video go organically good, and here's a huge pro tip, I would take money, 20% of our revenue, I would start putting it on those videos, the ones that automatically appease the algorithm. And by feeding, the whole algorithm exists to sell ads. So if you go with that desire that Google has, is to get your money to sell more ads, they want to do a really good job targeting the audience in which is going to buy your product. So if you have a good goal, if you have good content that goes well organically, that's the principle that I came that's behind you in that book. I talk about that, and that's what grew us so fast. Yes, sir. We outgrew companies that were in the business for 25 years in 1 year by that principle. We outgrew them because we appease the algorithm, and I didn't try to sell. I simply gave away the information. When it went viral, I put money to get more eyeballs and more attention on that. And then the new channel, to be honest, I'm in a new season of my life, man. Like, I told my wife when we were building our business, I said, honey, what would you sell our business for? She goes, no way would I ever sell our business. I go, I understand that. I go, but everything's for sale, and God didn't put us on this earth simply for stone coat countertops. Now, unbeknownst to us, the amount of lives, the amount of emails, the amount of private messages that we get where actually stone coat did change people's lives. It did help them in all aspects of life that I don't want to put more weight into, but the weight is heavy. It's huge. It's meaningful. And that's why I started that new channel, is because I wanted to create content that wasn't about just epoxy. And it's not about epoxy. It's about the struggle, man. It's about the work. It's about what I did. Cause I would not have believed my story had I not lived it. But I was a contractor who didn't know how to use a computer. I didn't know how to, I filmed my stuff on a flip share. I don't know if you guys remember those, but it's this little stupid camera because it had software that helped you edit. Like, I didn't know how to use anything, but what I was good at was learning. I wouldn't stop learning. And I struggled in school. I was in special ed. I didn't know how to read until 8th grade because one of my teachers who I went to church with, she pulled me aside and said, you need to come to my house every day and I'm going to teach you how to read. She taught us how to read. I wasn't stupid. I didn't learn to read. Therefore, I couldn't learn math. I couldn't learn how to learn. She taught me how to read. When I went into high school, they still wanted me in special ed because of my past, and I wanted a full ride football scholarship. And I told my mom, I said, I can't get a full ride unless I take college prep classes. I need to be into the regular classes. And so it wasn't happening. And I said, I'm never going back to school again unless you help me get in those classes. And she took me in the counselor's office, and that counselor looked at my mom, and she's like, I could see, I wasn't stupid. I could see in her eyes, all right, well, we're going to let him. And she knew I'd fail. And that's all I needed. Like, tell me I'm going to fail, lady. I'm not going to fail. I'll work too hard. And I got a 4.0 my freshman year. I never got a C in high school. It was all A's and B's. I got a full ride football scholarship, half academic scholarship because of that. But you have to be relentless in your own goals. You can't listen to the noise. You can't listen to other people. You can't be told I can't, like, don't your desire has to be bigger than the opposition. That opposition wakes up every single morning. He's the best salesman to tell you you suck, you're no good, it's not going to work, you're going to light it all on fire, you're going to give up 1,000 times. But if you can just be stronger than him just a little bit, you will win. It's a matter of time. I would have never learned where we would get if I quit.
Yeah, that's that right there. If you quit, you can't. That's I know on my side where I look at things, I would rather fail than wonder what if. I'd
Hmm.
rather fail trying. Yeah, whatever. At least I tried, but I don't want to look back and be like, what if I would have did that? What if? And that's just, I know it's scary, and I think that's the biggest thing that people need to get out of is out of their head. Get out of your own way. We are our biggest things when I look at my kids, and I've been trying to get better at it, but we've got 8. So by the last one, I might have it, but there's so many times I said no, and should I really be saying no? Don't do that. No, don't do that. Am I instilling them that they can't do something? And because I remember when I was a kid, there wasn't anything I couldn't do. There wasn't anything I wouldn't try. I was just going, all the way. I played, 110%. Did I stumble because somebody told me no? And so, yes, I know there's boundaries I have to set with my kids. Hey, don't eat the dog crap, don't do that. But there's some learning experiences. I have to let them get out there and do it. And hopefully, they can be 10 times more than I am. That's all I can hope for. And when we're giving our legacy away is here, be better than me. We bought we have one son, who's 23 and bought his house. Those weren't things when I was that
Nice.
age thinking about. I was too worried about the partying and having a ball. I wasn't thinking I need to have a career and I need to get a house and I need to do all this and set myself up for future success. No, I'm like, where's the next bar? Let's go. Hey,
Hmm.
I don't have to be to work for 4 hours. You know what we can do on that? And so putting these values in front of them, like, do yourself, do what's best for you. And I can't tell people that. I can't say, Mike, I think this is what you should do. I don't know what you should do. What do you think you should do? And, okay, this is what you should do. Now let's see what we can do to help you get there. And I think that's where a lot of people do just fall into that of not knowing and not wanting to take that action. So we got to do our best to get people to know what they want and then to take that action for it. So, for me, like my morning routine, I get into the office and I write out my 5 things of what I need to have done for the day. I split it out. I plan it there. I'm a big planner. I got to write stuff down so I can check it off because yeah, there's all these apps and I can move stuff and click that, but it just doesn't feel as accomplished as grabbing the pen and just crossing that thing off the list. I need that physical thing. So, what does your morning routine look like?
Well, what you just said, man, that the weight in what you just said is huge. I followed that same principle. I learned that principle of write 5 things down, and you start with number 1. What is, and as being a dad and a husband, my priorities for those 5 things are different than my 5 business things. And
Mm-hmm.
so I actually break my day up into 3 days,
Okay.
and that is 3 6-hour days. I learned this from Ed Milet. Ed Milet said 3 6-hour days. He gets done more in 6 hours than most people get done in a whole day, but then he does it 2 more times. So anybody in his competition is automatically 2.2 or 3 times behind him day after day after day. He can accomplish so much because every minute of planning, you get your biggest return on investment. 1 minute of planning can save you an hour of wasted time. So if it's 60 to 1 ROI, I mean, just that those 5 items is that, I mean, what does that take? 1, 2, 3, 4 minutes. And when you do it day after day, you start doing it automatically.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's my morning routine? I already visualize what is it that I want to get done that day. And I put a time clock in my head. Part of my weakness is anxiety. I'll get anxiety when I'm not performing, when I'm not where I wanted to be that day. And it's so much so that doctors have said, oh, you need some medication. But in reality, it's the same thing that drives me to not go to bed before I accomplish it. That if I want to get fit and I didn't go work out and I am just dog tired, I got to go work out. I'm not going to bed until I work out. So I learned very quickly to cope with, I know I'm crazy. I know I'm anxious. I know I can't stand it if I didn't get done what I needed to. So let's get better at getting done what I need to. And then also learning to pivot just as fast. I learned to put income producing activities first. If you're gonna be in business and you don't do, you kind of, it's like going fishing. You got so much to do before you go fish. You got to go gas up the boat. You got to get your reel relined. You got to get all your lures ready. You got to attack. Got all these things you got to do, but you're only going to catch a fish when you're on the lake with your line in the water with the right bait on. So if you don't do all that the night before, you're going to waste half the day. So how do you get to your IPA, your income producing activity first? Same thing with my family. When I'm with my 5-year-old, I know that he wants to go swimming. We're gonna have Zachy Daddy swim night every single night, and I'm gonna talk to him about his goals, and we're gonna play, and we're gonna throw the thing in the pool, and we're gonna play tag, and I'm gonna help him flip. But that's his IPA. What's my IPA with all of my kids? I know exactly. My boy loves skateboarding. He wanted a skate ramp. I go, all right, do your research. Teach me how to build a ramp. We'll build it together. Like, what's the IPA in your family? What's the IPA in your business? So just like you, I write those down. And I believe pen to paper is good, but I suck at losing paper. And so I just use this thing called Keep Notes. But key to that is a checkbox. It has a checkbox. I'm going to check it off. That's that dopamine rush of when I check it off, I got it done. Next, what's next? And, I've gotten away from a lot of things that built success, in my opinion, to me. And that was getting up before everybody. I'm now back getting up before the sun. I'm now back in the gym. I'm now listening to the personal development that kind of got cheesy after 4 or 5 years of listening to the same thing. It's not cheesy. You dwell in what you dwell on. If you plug it in your brain, it comes out. It comes out right now. And so I've put that back into a part of my life. Losing my father 15 months ago, I went to a very dark place that I have had to learn to get back into those daily habits of, you got to go to the gym, you got to work out, you got to plug in that personal development. And I actually just listened to this guy, his name's Jocko, and Jocko talked about death of a soldier and death of his friends and all these funerals he went to, because he's a special ops guy in the military, and he was a Navy SEAL. And he said, our society has not done well at creating a habit and ritual that's accepted by us as a society. And he goes, as a Navy SEAL, when you go to your buddy's funeral, the most valuable possession you own is your trident. And you go to their casket and you plunge that trident in the casket, and it gets buried with your buddy. And that's where it stops. You move on. Your buddy's gone. It's time to move on. And my dad is gone. I'm not moving on, but I need to learn to still be a warrior. I still have 4 boys. I still have a wife. I still have businesses. I still have obligations. I got 40 people that counted on me at Stone Coat. I got people that count on me for mentorship. If I'm a mess and a wreck because I didn't plan my day, I'm useless. And so I would say my morning routine is heavily planned first. And I don't plan, like, it's not paralysis by analysis. It's what do I got to do? Here's what I want to do. And then course correct the entire day to land on the moon, because you're only on track to the moon 3% of the time. So do all your course corrections, adjust, pivot, and just be a high executor of those 3 6-hour days. And then define what it is you're working on. I don't answer my phone. I don't look at my phone. Emails are just a place for other people to get in line for the things they want you to do for them. And that's okay. There's a time in the day for that, but don't put it first. Don't put looking at your stupid phone first. Most people would make a lot more money if they never had a phone. If they just used it for the marketing tools. But man, just a waste of the phone is insane. And I had a mentor say, if you throw away your phone, you'll. If I told you throw away your phone, you'd be a millionaire, would you do it? Everybody says, I want to be a beast. Like the guy says, everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do. And so that's the kind of stuff I consume. That's what starts my day, and that's what carries me on through the whole day.
Man, that is some great information there. We're going to check in with some people here, because I was so just enthralled with this. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. We got other people here that are asking stuff over here. And so Rastus, letting us know, hey, praise God that your kid was saved. Now we didn't have a similar situation, but our son, we had to have our last one at a hospital 3 hours away. He had kidney issues, and so we battled with that for like the first 6 months of not being around the rest of the family. And that was about the time where it's like, here, we're doing this as a business. I need to be the leader and be able to master our own thing. So it totally spoke to me when you did that right there. Aaron's checking in, and he says having that opening question is so valuable. Just asking people how they're doing doesn't work at a trade show anymore. And that's right. Just asking them how they're doing it doesn't work. You got to be out there to get it. And when we were talking about shirts, Pilar said, yeah, and now you're going to get 24 new Stone Coat shirts from everyone.
Don't do it, man. I got other shirts I want. Don't do Stone Coat shirts. Because I told you that. Don't do it. You'll yeah. I got stuff for you. Yeah, PM me.
They're all thinking the same thing. Corey's telling us that you're such an amazing and inspirational story. So great there. And then Aaron came in with, I love all this, especially the part about how hard you work to get better each time. You can't do the minimum. You have to go above and beyond. And that is so true. You have to do that. And I'm getting praise now. Aaron's my partner in this. And yeah, there's 5 things. I don't let him know everything I'm doing because, some of the stuff wears off on me. And I kind of keep it close to the chest because I'm like, I want to make sure everything works right. And so, yes, he's a success principal trainer with Jack Canfield. So it's really helped me and part of my journey of things. So yes, Aaron, I am doing that. And then he follows up with a question. So it's so great. So how do you reconcile the part about giving things away for free and then first focusing on those income producing activities?
Good question. That you're exactly right in that. But I know that if I give away information, anybody who says they want to start a YouTube channel, I say, I don't know how to start a YouTube channel unless it's product based. That's all I know. I don't know about how these guys do, the video game channels or the, teeny bopper. I don't know about any of that. But if you have a product, that's where it's applicable. Here's why. If you give first, if you give, and then ask, expecting nothing in return, but just ask, hey, here's how you do this recipe. Here's how you save. And I know it's 10x. If I save somebody 10 times their time, 10 times their money, or 10 times, if I help them make 10 times their money off what they invested to buy the epoxy, any of those 3 things, it has to be 10x. Just like the viral video, it's got to be 10x. If it hits that criteria, I've just given away enough information so much that I'm saving you one of those 3 10s, you're probably going to buy my product, or you're going to tell someone about my product. You're going to be so convinced that I gave you so much free stuff that you might want to try it. And most of the time, you're going to try it with the minimum order. You're going to buy my smallest kit. You're going to try it on your vanity, and you're going to test my words. If I told you something that was true, now you're going to do your kitchen. You're going to tell your friends about me. You're going to tell all of Facebook, look what I made. You're going to advertise for me. This is income producing activity. If I made a better video that helps you more, you're helping me get where I want to be. It wasn't out of me being just the greatest, nicest guy in the world. It's because it actually worked. If I tried to make you pay me $2,000 because the materials that I was selling was worth far more than $2,000. Todd, if you're going to teach somebody an apparel business or a clothing business, the information is extremely valuable. But if you try to sell it for what it's worth, it's hard. Like you talked about before, if a lot of things are discounted of being valuable pieces of information because we give it away, but people don't realize that everything's free. There's people giving podcasts, there's people giving trainings. The internet wants the information to be free. So the guy who asked the question, well, what is IPA? It's exactly that. It's helping other people that are like, serve your customer. That's income producing. Serve them better than anybody. Start in your local community. Serve them better, and then go regionally, then go statewide, then go nationally, then go worldwide, and then if you want, go intergalactic. But be the best at what in your space at serving your customer. That's why we were the only epoxy company that posted their phone number everywhere. I had to hire countless people to answer the phones. I had to train them. Epoxy is not an easy thing to learn. I wrote down all the canned responses of the typical questions with videos that go with it. Like, we created a customer service team. I didn't adopt another system. We did it blue collar contractor style because that's how we knew how to do it. We used Google Docs and searchable. We did it all just by common sense. And that's another thing, is common sense isn't really common. So if you use it, and stop overcomplicating things. Stop thinking that the software is going to solve your problem, but man, just write it down, right? Just put that pen to paper. I hope that answered his question.
Yeah. And then Darren says that, Mike, you've been an inspiration to me. My first big thing I did with Stone Coat was my huge island and countertop, 4 gallons worth. Scary. And Darren, when we were talking about this, he posted in our group, and I'm like, see, I've been on that. Do I do this or not do it? I know I can do it. I know I can do it. And then I see Darren does, and I'm like, why the hell am I waiting on this? Come on, I need to do it.
Nice. Good job, Darren. Thanks for sharing that. And thanks for your support. And it isn't hard, but again, before you pour 4 gallons, pour something small, get that recipe down. Make sure. The last thing I want is somebody to waste money. And also, when people did waste money, when they had this big mistake, and people will take advantage, but that's okay. We would always help them, I'll send you 4 more. You did the wrong thing. You didn't listen to my video and make a sample first. I would send them 4 gallons if you messed it up. Like, you gotta help people to that degree, not thinking about your pocketbook or the bottom line. I know I said IPA, but it's got to be back here and not the forefront. If I help you first, you're going to help me. So Darren, that he had a good experience, he'll probably do another one. And he's going to tell the world about Stone Coat.
Yeah, in fact, if I remember correctly, he's bid 2 jobs that he's doing, and it's not, it went from there. I don't think he set out to do it, but if I remember right, he's bidden 2 jobs when we talked about it. And then Aaron did say, "Thanks for answering that, Mike. It was a great answer. Thanks. He loves it."
Nice.
So, Mike, what now, since starting this new thing, what makes you feel inspired? What inspires you?
Man, a lot inspires me. My 6-year-old inspires me. My kids, I have a boy who's about to turn 18. Looking at him be self-disciplined and get up in the morning without ever being told go work out and help his brothers. The kindness and the generosity that he has, it makes me so proud to be his father, where I don't deserve such amazing attributes from a child, but here he is. My kids inspire me, and our community inspires me. The people that have served our country and have PTSD, that learn a hobby and they take it, and they, the guys who were suicidal that now love their life. The stories that I get to hear about the guy who was driving a truck his entire life. It was a good career, but he's missing his family and his kids, and now he's going to start his own business. That inspires me. The motivational content that I hear from my mentors inspires me. The stories of somebody getting rid of the safety and security of the 9-to-5. I understand the safety and security. I understand the obligation to feed your family, so important. But somebody who works after that 9-to-5 to build their side hustle, to grow it into something that now is outdoing their 9-to-5, that takes that leap, that goes after it, that doesn't just sit and go study, but they take action, they work. With those stories, for me, I've been poor and I've been rich, and you can do a lot more good if you choose when you're rich. And so I would say any company that you're working for 9-to-5 is going to pay you exactly what they need to for you to stay there, and that's it. And if you want to do massive good, unfortunately, the scoreboard we use as a society is money. And if you want to do good, it makes it a lot easier if you do it and you have more to give. And so I would say the stories of people that figure it out. Denzel Washington, he says, each one teach one. When you reach back and help the people that are trying, that, if I would have had a mentor, I was stupid. I didn't understand the value of reaching out to the person who I wanted to be like and saying, how did you do this? What would you recommend I do now? If they charge you for that, sometimes it's good. The best mentor is the one who literally just cares about you, who's made it so far that they will do it for free for you. When you do that, and that's what I'm doing with my new channel, is I just want to help people that have questions and help them avoid some pitfalls that are financially sometimes devastating. Like, don't put a bunch of money on an ad unless you know it's already going viral. And if you don't have a video that's not income producing, if it doesn't generate sales, there's no point in putting money behind it. Say just these little, like, I can see clearly when somebody has a vision of a business. I know if it's product based, I know how to make it work. 100%. I know how to make it work. I know how to use Facebook. I know how to use YouTube. I know how to use email lists. I know how to use text. I know how to connect. I know how to do short form, long form, and everything in between. I know how to do lives, but all that was such a mystery. But now it's clear. So once you've done it, you could put me on a desert island right now, at least with some people there who have a home, that care about their home. I could make a living. But it was so unclear in the beginning. So that's what inspires me, man. Is just seeing people willing to get out of their comfort zone. Todd, you got out of your comfort zone, and you're exactly right. What's the downside to it, man? I mean, all of us want to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. Ultimately, we could die doing something, but where we go is still a good number 2, right? We're not in earth, but we're in heaven, man. Maybe that is number 1. So right? I don't know. Yeah. Sorry to go that route, man.
The journey is the fun. right? Like
Yes, it is.
if we're looking forward to something, and worried about something, hey, I don't know. I can't change the past, and I cannot predict the future. I can only live for today and do my
Can
best
I say
at it.
something on what you just said, Todd?
Yeah,
Uh, the journey is the fun. The journey is the real inspiration. Every step of Stone Coat, I would. So I built a little house for my mom and dad right next to our house. I built them a little house because they were going through some hard times with their health, and my dad and mom lived next to us for about 4 years. And while I was building Stone Coat and while I was failing at Stone Coat, every day I'd go over and I'd talk to my dad. My dad was my best friend. He was my mentor. He was my spiritual leader. He helped me so much. But this time with my father during that journey, this time with my wife, this time with my kids, that struggle, I look back and that is the value in what we did. That time of working together in this goal, this common goal, man, I wouldn't trade that time for anything. It was the most fun I ever had just talking about. It was like Babe Ruth. We're pointing in a direction and we hit the ball there, and we hit it because we talked every night about it. We made small goals and big goals, and my dad didn't want anything for it. He was just happy. He was happy to see it, man. So yeah, that journey it's
yeah.
truly where it's fun.
It's one of those things where there's a time to make money, and it's not when you should be making memories. You can't get those back. I can't buy those memories. I can't buy that time back. I can always get more money, but I
Yeah.
can't attend that sixth grade graduation again. Once it's done and over with. And I came from that with my dad, and I was really resentful of that. When I don't know if I've ever even told this story, but you've kind of brought it out. I mean, my dad, we didn't have the best relationship. So when I see others have that, I just had that real struggle with it. I was like, what was my problem? Wasn't I not good enough? Did I not make him happy? And I realized it was my dad's struggle with addiction. With drugs and alcohol, he had a really bad addiction with it. And it came to a point in my life where I had to stop. I just said, I'm done and over with this. I'm tired of putting in the effort. I shouldn't have to do that. And so we didn't talk for 5-6 years. And then he got sick. And he got cancer. And from the time we found out he had cancer to the time he died was 11 days. And he died in my house. And I brought him in, and I did that. And I had so many questions I wanted answered that I didn't get answered. And I beat myself up for it, where I was like, why wasn't it? And then I realized it's not me, it was him. I did everything I could do to be the best person I can. And I brought him back into my home. I said, I want to spend those time with you. So having that, I strove, even though I say he wasn't the greatest, he gave me some of my best lesson in life. I did not want to be him. I wanted to be the father to my kids that I didn't have. So I took that, and I took that negative and I turned it into a positive. And so I think that goes with a lot of things, where you have to take those negatives and turn it into positive. And it sounds to me like your dad was one of the people that influenced you the most in your life and your business. Would that be right?
Yes. Yeah. He
Yeah.
he absolutely. My dad was always blue collar. I grew up, if you wanted to spend time with my dad, I had 5 brothers and sisters, and my parents took in children in need, and they took in during my ages of kindergarten through high school, we had over 100 needy children that my parents took care of throughout that time. And my dad would go to work all day, and then he'd come home, and his side hustle, he was in the construction trades, but his side hustle was to make leaded glass and stained glass windows. He was an artisan. He didn't ever present himself as an artisan, but looking back, the windows that he created, they belonged in, that he could do. Everywhere he installed these was always in the multi-million dollar homes. And so as a kid, I'm going to these homes under construction when it was time to put in windows. And it was, for instance, my dad did Eddie Murphy's house. He did all the windows in Eddie Murphy's house. And in fact, he built a window in that same neighborhood, and he went over to the house and he installed the window. And the homeowner, he told me, he goes, watch, I'm going to install this window. and they're going to hire me to do every single window in their house just from this one window. We did that. We installed it. 5 minutes after we were done installing, the guy goes, "Can you give me a bid?" My dogs just came up here, so hopefully they don't knock over my camera. He goes, "Can you give me a bid on the whole thing, on the whole house?" I went, "Whoa, how'd you know?" He goes, "Because if you do a good job, if you make it so much better than everything else, it's out of place. It changed the entire house." He did a job for another contractor where he built the whole entry, the whole entry. He did a window above, the side lights, the doors, everything. He built the whole thing, and he did it out of his shop. And I used to bevel glass for him. On the beveling, I'd use diamond pads, and we bevel this thing. And I remember my dad, he probably had, looking back, I bet he had 30, 40, 50 grand of material into this project. And the contractor couldn't pay him for these windows because he became over leveraged on this project. And my dad said, "You know what? Let's put it in. It'll help sell the house. You'll get your money. You could pay me." He put it in. It sold that week. And I'm just like, you got to give to get. He went to Eddie Murphy's house. He did the same thing. He did this amazing entry. He did all the windows. Crazy, crazy house. And Eddie Murphy's assistant says, "We need a fish tank. And it needs to be salt water. And the chillers need to be in the basement because we don't want to hear the pumps." And he starts going on and on. And he goes, "Can you do it?" Because it was glass, and my dad worked with glass. So apparently they said, okay, he could do it because he works with glass. My dad never built a fish tank in his entire life, especially a saltwater one. And he goes, "Yeah, I could do it." We get in the truck, and I knew to keep my mouth shut. I wasn't going to go, "Dad, you've never done that," in front of the client. I get in the truck, I go, "Dad, you never done that. How the hell are you going to do it?" He goes, "Somebody knows how to do it. We'll figure it out." And he built this ridiculously crazy fish tank, and it had a saltwater eel, and the damn eel jumped out of the tank. And they call my dad. He go pick eel, bit the living crap out of him. And he puts it back in the tank. Like, my dad could do anything because he said, "Yes, I can do it." And then he'd figure it out. So I forgot what your question was leading to that story. I apologize. I don't know where we were going with that.
Just who's it sounded like your dad was your biggest influencer. So, it was, that's where you
And my mom would, she would go to I was a chubby little nerd kid. I was kind of awkward, didn't know how to read, wasn't like, I wasn't into the partying. I wasn't into a lot of things my kids my age were. I wasn't into like music and stuff. I found these tapes that my dad had when he went to a conference from Zig Ziglar in Sacramento, and he bought like a bunch of cassette tapes about motivation. And I found one of them, and I put it in my little Walkman, and I played it. And I went to my dad, and I said, "Dad, the kids at school are making fun of me because I'm fat." And he goes, "Okay. He goes, "You can do one of two things, but both of them will work." And I go, "Yeah," like I'm all excited. I go, "What's the answer?" And he said, "Well, you could go on a diet." And I'm like, "Well, I don't want to do that. I enjoy eating Captain Crunch. I don't want to go on a diet." And he says, "Or you can laugh with them." And I'm like, "Dude, both of those suck. I don't want to do either of those, But in listening to those tapes from Zig Ziglar, I realized that I could just get tougher. I could actually change my cards by working really hard. I wanted to get good at football so that I could prove to these bullies that I was tough. And so I did just that. I worked out twice a day. I listened to these tapes. I thought it was just one tape. My dad heard that I was listening to it. He threw me the second one. I go, "Oh, there's another one." I listened to that. I memorized these Zig Ziglar tapes at a very young age. And it got me very intrigued about motivation. Zig Ziglar, I credit him for the motivation that I had at a young age. But then I realized by taking action on that motivation, it got me results. I realized, I made deals with my Father in heaven. I said, "Hey, I won't hurt my body. I won't drink. I won't smoke. I won't do drugs. If you help me be a good football player, help me from being this fat, chubby kid, help me be a good football player, I'll treat my body right." And I never broke that. And I got a full ride football scholarship. To this day, I haven't had a drink of alcohol because I made that promise. I believe that if you make covenants with your maker, he wants you to succeed. I believe if you listen to mentors and inspirational people, they just want you to succeed, but you gotta take the action. I couldn't put the Captain Crunch in my mouth anymore.
Yeah, 100%. That goes perfectly into my next thing. What are how do we do this? What are two things that you would recommend to our audience that they need to take action on today, and why do they need to do it?
Number one, if you don't have a direction or goals, you're flying blind. You don't know where you're going. So you need to make goals for the day, for the week, for the month, for the year, for 5 years, and for 10 years. You need a very specific plan of not necessarily how you're going to get there, but where you want to be. And then you get to reverse engineer that plan. Go find people who are there in each of those and say, how do you do it? Give me some advice. And Todd, I mean, you reached out to me, and I want to give us, like, I'm very, like, you care about my opinion, I'll give it to you. No problem. There's anybody who's made it will, not anybody, there's exceptions, but most will give that for free. They want to help you. So get those people to help you. That's the number one, is make your goals, find out who's there, and then just copy what they're doing. If it, I know this is going spiritual, but if God is real, he's going to answer our prayers with kind of the same answers, whether it's how do I get along with this person, or how do I help my finances, or how do I, help my health. The answers are mathematical and scientific. There's things to do. So our answers are going to be the same. So we all plagiarize those answers. They're just given to us in different ways. Or we hear them via a mouthpiece of a guy I listened to on YouTube about motivation. He still got that from somebody who was inspired. There's nothing that's the thought leaders are just better at presenting those thoughts, but those thoughts are given by inspiration. And so the answers aren't complicated. It's simple. The action is complicated. It's hard, but the answers are simple. And so get your goals, find your answers. And then second, don't make excuses. I deal with a lot of different people in business, a lot. And the ones that are the most successful, they blame everything's on themselves first. Everything's their fault. When there's a fire happening, it's their fault. When customer service is going downhill, it's their fault. When we can't get anything shipped, it's their fault. When our product isn't in stock, it's their fault. Everything's their fault. And the reason they do that, including myself, is because I learned if you blame it on yourself first, that's the only things you can fix. I can't and the moment that I blame it on supply chain, the moment I blame it on COVID, the moment that I blame my problems on, anything, my mind subconsciously stops searching for what I can do to fix it. So if you stop making excuses and pretend, because it's not all your fault, but if you pretend it is, you'll do all the action, have all the answers to do what you can do. And that's all you can do. So then move on, because you can't get the president of the United States or Russia and Ukraine to get along. You can't, like, if you go, and here's number 3, stop consuming trash. If you read the news and watch the news and you go to your cell phone and you consume all this crap, that's what you're going to spew back out. If you input beauty comes out. If you stop the drama, stop the arguments, get thick skin, and don't worry about negative comments. Don't worry, read the negative comments and see where the truth is. Where's the underlying truth behind the hurtness, and what can you actually do better? Because most negative comments have a lot of truth behind them that you can improve on. So look at those before you look at the positive ones. And then, build a team, man. Like if I went against one-on-one the best student from MIT in business, he might beat me. Maybe not anymore. Now I've got a better education than he does, which you don't always get. You don't get education in school for what we're talking about here. But let's say we're going against somebody who's the best in the world at something. If I put together a team, I guarantee I win. If he's single, if he's one person and I put together a team, just give me 5 people against one. I guarantee there's nobody in the world that could beat us probably at anything. If you put me up against the best fighter in the world and I got 5 people and I get to choose them, we're not the best, but we're going to win. Same in business, man. So if you put together a team that you can trust, that you can inspire and you can be inspired from, the problem is our society, it's becoming an anomaly. It's not becoming very easy to find that team. And so here's what you have to do is you have to tie your success to theirs. If you build a team based on performance, if they perform, they get paid more out of your pocket. If they perform, they get rewarded. They get what they want. If they help you get what you want, instead of this by the hour thing, it's paid on performance. You're going to have a lot of people that can't live like that, because commission-based living, like here's your stipend, but here's where we really want to be. But I can't pay you that if I don't get it coming in. I can't, but I'll share it with you if it comes in. If you're willing to share like that, you're going to find people that are willing to perform like that, because high performers know they can do it. And they're not, and they don't look at the clock. If you look at the clock, you have to look at the price tag, because you can't afford it. But if you stop looking at the clock and you start performing, that's when everybody starts winning. We made some of those changes in our customer service. We were getting 60% of our calls missed. I tied performance metrics to our team. We get 100% of our calls answered, 100% of our emails answered. Our customer service is amazing because we quit being cheap. We started tying performance to it. That's how I perform. I know that's how you perform. Mm-hmm. So there's some advice.
So then, what's the key of building a good team? I know I always like to give everybody a chance, and sometimes those chances hasn't played in my favor. But, a lot of times I believe what somebody's going to say until they can prove me wrong, instead of thinking they're wrong until they can prove me right. So what do you think are some of the keys to building a great team?
I'm in danger of being, I don't want to appear pompous. I don't want to appear mean, but I'm going to be real talk here.
Okay.
I made a lot of mistakes in building a team. I had never worked. I've always worked on the construction site, and that's a completely different team than the team that I currently work with. And so I had to learn from scratch the hard way of how to build a team. I learned that you get red flags about 90 days in. The red flags start, if there's going to be red flags. When you get those red flags, you got to course correct. You got to give people a chance to win. You can't look for a reason to get rid of people, or else you'll find it. But if you find a reason to inspire and help and guide and mentor, but you got to have criteria. If criteria is met on the negative, you got to part ways as friends. It's so much more important how you part ways than it is how you hire on. So I always took it really seriously. I hated letting somebody go. It hurt my heart, because we're talking about families and kids and income. It hurt. I would always offer, when we had to let somebody go, listen, this isn't working, but if you need help in this part of your life, you got my number. I will help you. I will help people that want to help themselves. But what I learned is what I'm looking for in a lot of respects, you can't know if they're right until you get in the trench with them in the foxhole. And once you do that, you find out who somebody is. And it's when times are hard, when there's deadlines, when there's commitments, when you've done these things and you're in the foxhole and I kept my personal team, the one that was around me, I took it very seriously on who I had around me, because you become a product of the 5 people you hang out with most. And so I was very nervous about making a wrong decision. But what I learned is everybody looks good on a resume. Everybody looks good on paper. Anybody who you're going to hire has done really good in their interview. But you got to course correct. A lot of times we would find, okay, maybe this isn't working. Let's try you over here, try you over here. If the 3 things don't work, it's time to part friends. But the ones who you're going to put in your foxhole, it's going to take sometimes 1 out of 10 people, 1 out of 20 people who are going to be what I call closers. They're going to be warriors. They're going to be the person who has your 6. It's not common. And so you have to find those by putting people at an easier position and evaluating and seeing the best people I ever got on my team were people who knew nothing about what I ended up having them do, but I taught them how to do it because I learned. I taught them, and then they grew it to the next level and the next level and the next level. So I built my team by building people. So it wasn't like somebody I found who already had the skills. I built the skills for them and with them. And I sat next to them. I guided them in exactly how I did. They got a back row, front row seat, a front row seat at how we built Stone Coat. Any one of them that had experience working next to me could go start a multi-million-dollar business today with the knowledge that they have, guaranteed, if they took the action. But that's the bridge. If you're comfortable in your job, it's hard to have desire to do that work. And I don't blame them. I get it. But also, if you're number 15 at Facebook, you're doing pretty damn good. I don't think you need to start your own business.
I tell people if they're tired of their 9 to 5, then you got to work on your 5 to 9. You get out there and get after it. When you're after hours, you have to do it. You make those sacrifices so you're able to. And like I said, some of those people, when they get into it, that's when they realize that, hey, this isn't right for me. I'm okay, with my job. I may not like it, but I like that comfort of having that paycheck.
You know what I started doing too? I forgot to say this is when I started to hire people, I would actually use them on like a project. I wouldn't say I'm looking for a full, use them on a project. Say, hey, I got something different I'm trying. You want to help me out? Even if it wasn't different, let's try you out. See how it goes. Cause it's done after I'm done with this particular campaign. We're done, but I just need some help. And then, I would actually ask, a lot of times I'd ask my audience. I'd say, hey, anybody looking to help me with this? And I'd go with people that were hungry. Most of them, I wouldn't even tell them it was a paying job. I always paid them, and I would surprise them at the end with ridiculous pay. But I wanted the person who would do it for free. If you'll work with me for free, you love what you're like. You want to do this. You're hungry. You want to prove yourself. You want to learn how we're doing our YouTube channel. You want to learn how we're placing that ad. How are we making that thumbnail? How are we figuring this out? How'd you come up with that? And I taught them any questions they had. Here's an open book. Anybody who doesn't work for me, here's an open book. I'll tell you everything we're doing because the price of entry is action. And that's hard. If you do it, I'll clap for you, man. You earned it. But I would try them out. And then I try them again, and I'd hire them, subcontract them. Sometimes when I needed somebody that would go, like maybe a new person for our shipping department, it got to a point where logistics and HR and legalities and contracts, all these things became real that Catherine and I didn't know much about. So I hired a temp agency. I would try people out, call it dating before getting married. I learned that from a mentor, and we would find the best people we could that were hungry and humble enough that they had to go to a temp agency, and then we would pay them more than they ever dreamed they could make. And that's how we found loyalty, and that's how we found somebody who wanted. And then, I mean, we promoted people from our shipping department into customer service, into management, into running. The person who runs all of the logistics and all of the site now for Stone Coat, she started out answering phones and making spreadsheets, and now she knows how to run a 9-figure business. She didn't know any of that.
And that's the building within. You create that culture of, hey, we're going to go to bat for you. It's not me first. I'm me last. I want everybody else before me. I don't want to say that the buck stops here, because hey, I need you. You're my team. I am nothing without you. As much as as Corey is intricate part of this business, sometimes she doesn't feel like she is, and I have to tell her, hey, I'm nothing without you. If I can print stuff and I can do it, but if it doesn't ship out, what are we doing? It's sitting here. I need you. You are more to this business than I am. I'm just a face. I'm not even a pretty face at that. I'm just a face, and I try and get things done. It's behind the scenes. It's those people behind the scenes that really make the work happen. And a lot of times they don't get enough credit, and to me, I think that's where you find some of your best people at. You bring in that culture, you find out who your top people are and who really care about you and your business. And those are the ones that, you're going to pull by the hand and say, let's do this together. We're in this together, and building that team. The team is where it's always at. And
what we did with the team, Todd, is I listened to this video, and this guy was in sales. He was actually sold insurance, life insurance. And so he had this life insurance company, and he built these agents up, and he taught these agents, and they were like an underdog, no name insurance company. And the metrics were public of what their competitors would sell. And so he actually put together a world championship. And he knew, and his team knew, that they were in a world championship, but they were taking down Goliath in their mind. They were trying to win the industry, to be the top selling insurance in the entire world by following certain principles. But they were in a world championship, and they hit the metrics. And so what he did is he went to the same company that made the Super Bowl rings, and he had Super Bowl rings made for every one of his employees that won the world championship. And so I listened to that video. I go, I like that idea. I found the company that he was talking about, and those rings that he bought were not cheap. And I told my, and this was right around January, right before January. So I said, we're going to launch this in January. I went to my team and I said, listen, we're in a world championship. Here's the metrics of everybody that I want to compete against. I can see their subscribers. I can see their views. I can see the comments. I could see every channel that they're on, and we're going to beat them. We're going to beat them. We're going to win. And here's our goals. And we defined them, and we paid attention. We put our competitors up on the board. We wrote down what they were doing, wrote down what we were doing, anything that was public knowledge. And you can't find a lot of public knowledge in a lot of respects like you could in insurance, but there was enough to have the game set, the rules set. And we not only beat them, but because we had our eye on those metrics, it exploded the industry. We actually got audited by a large company that was looking at why the epoxy industry elevated as a market. Because when we started, it wasn't anywhere near where it is today. And they actually came back, because I'm now I sold my business to Polytech, and Polytech owns probably 30 consumer-based epoxy companies at this point. And they came back and they said that the moment that Stone Coat started putting out videos, the market elevated. And the more they grew, the market followed. And I was so proud of that. But that's the exact time that we defined our world championship. My wife and I bought those rings. We made diamond rings with a whole bunch of diamonds and the Stone Coat logo. We hit 100,000 subscribers that year. We hit all these metrics that we were trying to hit. And I gave those rings away at our Christmas party because we won the world championship. So if you rally people and motivate, like if you're corporate America, if you're not afraid to cry with your employees or scream with them and love on them and cheer them and lift them and help, like, if you don't help them grow, if you don't have their back when they can't pay their mortgage, if their kid gets sick and they need help, you don't have their back, you ain't gonna win a world championship. You gotta be in the trench.
Yeah, that definitely sheds a whole light on things. When you think about it that way, setting that championship goal, you're creating that team environment. You're creating that one common thing to go after, and we can do that ourselves. Even if you're just a single person business, you can set that goal, set that ring, get what you want,
Yeah, you're building policy procedure right now that eventually you're going to teach. That was another thing. My wife got so good at learning how to do something, already knowing we're going to have to teach this someday. So make it simple. I heard a quote, and it said, if you're building a business, build it so good that an idiot can run it, because someday they will. I'm like, okay, I'll do that, but am I the idiot? Sometimes I am. And so I'm still able to run it,
Yes, I am that idiot. Well, and Chuck commented in here that, so Corey's the one I need to thank for the quick turnaround times I get from Fat Dad. And yes, here was the thing is when Corey started taking over the shipping, we put in a note with our instructions, and, I would include something, have a great day, you're awesome, something, and I would sign my name to it. Well, then I caught her signing my name, and I'm like, no, sign your name. You're doing this. Put the information in there. I'm like, take ownership of that. And she kind of looked at me. I'm like, nobody's going to believe that's my handwriting anyway. It's way too pretty. But yes, get out there and do that. Like, take ownership of that. Because to me, in my previous careers of running business, and that is the employees that I gave the chance to screw up and let them own their mistake and let them be a part of the business turned out to be our best employees. They didn't call in sick. They didn't no call, no show. They put in extra hours because they took ownership in their job and loved it. And that's the way we treat our business. We have that opportunity to work as few or as many hours as we want in a day. And very rarely we'll say, I just don't feel like working today. No, because guess what? That job's still there. So you set that goal and you get it done. Because if you don't, who else is going to do it? And it's very hard, but at the same time, it's so rewarding. So rewarding when you get that at the back end of it. So, Mike, we went clearly into bonus time today, but it's been such amazing nuggets that you've dropped here with us. But we do have a controversial question that we have to ask people, and this one, it's near and dear to me. But here it is. I'm going to be good with it. On pizza, yes or no?
Pineapple on pizza. I live in Hawaii, bro. If I said no, we'd be in trouble. I mean, what are they like? I grow pineapple on the property. Pineapple goes on everything, man.
No, it doesn't. It is not. It is not a real topping. Like legit, you have sausage and pepperoni. If you want pineapple on pizza, it becomes a fruit pizza, so it becomes dessert. It is not a topping on pizza. And I knew this when I came into it, and I'm looking at questions. I'm like, yeah, so this is the one I already know the answer to, because it's like, oh,
I got to argue with you, man. If I took you to a restaurant called Humpy's, and they call it Humpy's because it's after humpback whales, because they come in Kona, Hawaii. I go to Humpy's, and they have the true Hawaiian pizza. Okay, I think they know more about pizza than you do, Todd. True Hawaiian pizza. You come out, you get barbecue sauce, you get kalua pork, you get cheese, and you get pineapple. It's the best pizza you'll ever eat in your entire life. And if you don't like it, I'll pay for your whole trip to Hawaii. But if you do, you got to admit that pineapple belongs on pizza, bro.
See, to me, that's a flatbread pork sandwich. That's what that is. That's not a pizza. You're pretending to be a pizza. You're pretending to be a pizza. It's not a pizza. It's
marketing.
Sauce.
It's marketing, homie. You better get good at it.
That's what it is. It's marketing. It's the way you do it. So, Mike, we've had an amazing conversation here. Where can people find out more about you? Where can they find you at?
I'm in a new season of my life. They won't see me on Stone Coat very much. My brother, I've turned that entire channel over to him, and I've dedicated my next season to trying to change the world, Todd. I'm trying to help people in ways that I wished I found when I was starting. And so Mike Quist on YouTube is where I am. MikeQuist.com I'm actually doing a beta test right now. I bought every program available known to man on how to sell your art online. Every program that you could spend money on, I did. I've taken all the gold nuggets out of it that I may or may not have known, but I go, okay, if this is what this person did to sell, and that's what they did. So I learned how are artists selling online. I've already proven the concept. I've started testing how to sell art online. I'm going to start teaching people not only how to sell art, but how to turn their craft into cash, how to turn their passion into profit, how to start a business, how to build a business, how to stay motivated. I'm just going to share the things that I learned that day while I'm working out. I'm going to regurgitate it in my way that's going to help people in the way that I can, because not everybody's palatable to everybody, but the people who love me, I'm more than willing to share everything that I've learned. And like I told you before, I know it sounds cocky, but there's not a product-based business on planet Earth right now that I couldn't kick butt with.
And to me, I think the biggest thing that you're going to say with that is they need to take action, right? I mean,
yes,
that's the biggest thing. Is so many people don't want to do it, and to me, I'm like, if you're not willing to take action, you're just not ready for it, and you have to do that. And I think I speak for everybody here when we thank you so much for coming on to this. I know there was a ton of knowledge. I know I'm going to go back and watch this again, because I just love listening to you. I love everything you've been putting out, and the new channel has been amazing to see what you're doing. And it's different to see, that the whole crafting side of it, because a lot of us, we do on the epoxy side, we do, she's got cups over here turning that she does epoxy with. The art side of it, there's an artist in everybody, and it's up to you to go out there and find it. And I think that's a part of me. I miss that. I look back at some of my early art of high school. I'm like, why don't I do that anymore? And it was because, I was told I wasn't the greatest at it. And so what I do, I listened. When did I start listening to people? I need to get back after it. So
I had a high school teacher. I had a high school teacher tell me, Todd, that if I don't do better, no, it was junior high. If I don't do better in English, that I would end up as a construction worker. Well, I ended up as a construction worker. So shame on her for trying to say that was a bad career, because it led to everything, so don't listen to listen to the negative feedback, but don't believe it. Once you start, whatever you believe, you got to believe it before the world does. You know,
Mhm.
if you believe you're a champ, you got to believe it before the world does. So
Mhm.
do it first, man. Believe in yourself. Don't listen to that adversarial voice in your head that tells you you can't. Whether you say you can or whether you say you can't, you're always right. That's what my mom taught me, and she was right, man.
100% on that. And you know, and a lot of times that criticism, I think we really need to not look at it as so much criticism is sometimes it is smart things. You know, like I have often been criticized that my lighting wasn't the greatest here. You know, this microphone wasn't the great. You know what? Okay. You know, instead of being, you suck. Why did you take the time out of your day to comment that? I'm like, hey, what can I do to make this better? You know, all right. So let me try these lights. And so a lot of times I'll come across stuff and I'll post it in our group, be like, hey, you know, has anybody used these? What do you think of these? How does it work for you? Because I want to get better at it. And I don't know if I suck at something until somebody tells me. You have so many people in this. You're great. Here's your participation award. Here's everything that you deserve. That sometimes you need that. Hey, you suck at this, so let's do what we can do to get you better. And I try my best to keep getting better at it.
Good for you, man. And in truth, the person who's talking about your lighting on your podcast isn't listening to the message. They're missing the gold, and they're tripping over pennies and missing gold nuggets. You know, they're trying to help you, they're trying to add value, but in reality, your cell phone and lighting, it doesn't there's not nearly as much weight. Like people ask all the time, what equipment do you use for YouTube? It totally doesn't matter. That's the answer. It doesn't matter. You have it in your pocket. Just use that.
Yeah. And I mean, when you look at, what we have in our pockets today compared to, what is it? They said there's more computing power in our phone than what it took to put the first man on the moon.
Yes.
That's a big thing when you think about it. And,
yes.
You've got so much access to so many things,
But what do we do with it, man? We watch cat videos, like, what do we do with it? You got everything on that thing.
We do.
You could look up physics, man. You could go to MIT and watch classes for free.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
There's a Corsa. Corsa is the name of the website where there is a ton of universities that are offering online free classes. There's some paid ones there, but there's a lot of it. And one of the things, I saw that Florida State had one on there, and Florida State's my college football team that I love dear to my heart. And I'm like, you know what? I should take this course so I get a certificate that says I'm a Florida State alumni. I'm like, it totally
yeah.
And that's
nice.
The knowledge is there. When one of the things I remember in school was, hey, it's not, you need to know this math because it's not like you're going to be walking around with a computer or a calculator in your pocket. You're right. Now it's on my watch. I got it here. I've got that there. You have
exactly.
an encyclopedia of knowledge that's in there.
And, some of our most successful people and the most brilliant people that are on planet Earth, a lot of them dropped out of high school or college.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them, if not most of them. So knowledge doesn't just come from the classroom. It comes from your desire to learn, and it's never been easier to compartmentalize that and learn. Like, you can have it at your fingertips. Start discovering it and then implement it. I used to watch videos on YouTube, jogging on the treadmill. I'd watch a video how to do something, and I'd go right up to my office and I'd implement it, and then I'd do it again. Because I could only remember one thing. I go do one thing and I'd come back and do another.
Yeah,
I didn't watch videos that got me nowhere, and there's a lot of them on there.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, and the key in there is it's taking action, and I don't know how many times I can stress that is taking action. I can give you every tool that's out there to build a house, but if you don't take the action at it, you're just going to sit there with a thing full of tools, and that's the crazy thing is you can use those same tools whether you want to build a shed, a house, a car. You can do so much with it, but it's up to you to take the action to decide what you want to do with it. And I know it's tough, and I know it's scary, but they really, really have to take action.
One step further than that is to build a house. You actually don't need that many tools. You know what I mean? And so that's another thing is people get hung up on, I got to have all this stuff first. Like, they want to go start working out, so they go buy workout clothes, or they go buy. It's like, just go for a jog. Just go walk. You already got shoes. Go do it. Don't go buy a new camera because you want to take a photo. Just do with what you have. Make it pay for your next camera. Stop making excuses to do the work. You don't get anywhere by getting good fishing tackle. You get somewhere by fishing. That's full circle, Todd.
Yeah, it's taking that whole, you know, what you have and just doing those little steps. You know, one of my goals for this year was, you know, I needed to be under 200 pounds. I was creeping up on 300, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fat dad. That's what I always played it as. But I knew I needed to stay healthy. I knew I had to get with it. And so I kind of took those little steps. You know, I quit buying soda for the house or pop or whatever. Well, that's a whole different subject there. But I quit buying stuff like that. I started watching what I was eating. And so far, I haven't worked out at all.
How long you been at that? How long you been doing that, Todd? How long you been trying to get down to 200?
So I just started that January 1st, and I'm down 34 pounds. And I haven't worked out. I haven't done anything. You know, I watched what I ate. You know, instead of, I made things easier to get. You know, the chips for the kids were super easy to grab a bag for. But you know what? I just had to move the apples. I just had to make little things like that. I had to make it easier for me to break that cycle. And once I did that, you know, I can see stuff come off. And now I'm excited. Like, hey, if I've lost 30 some pounds just by changing what I eat, what happens if I start adding a little exercise in there? What happens if I start doing that? So, you know, it's those little steps. Nobody is asking you to change the world overnight. All I'm asking you is, you know, pick up your trash today. You know, you do that, things are going to happen. You just, those little small things, you know, is going to change the way that everything works for you. So
have you ever seen the documentary Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead?
I have not.
That changed my life, dude. I'm back to those principles. I was 330 pounds and I got down to 217. And I had a 6-pack and I was in good shape, and I got away from some of those habits. I'm back to like 270 right now, but I'm in the same journey you are. I know how to get there. I've done it before. I know the action it takes. I'm back up before the sun. I'm doing it. But that video taught me how to do it without like joining some diet plan. It was life, and he calls it a reboot. When you go back, reboot, man, you know how to do it. Go do it again. And so yeah, I'm in the same boat you are. So congratulations, man.
Thanks, man.
Good for you.
It's one of those where I knew I needed to do it for myself. Nothing would change that. And I knew trying diets or trying that, I'm trying to live by what somebody else is telling me. You need to eat this. You need to do that. And that's not going to work for me. I just need to watch what I'm eating. You know, I can still have ice cream if I want it. You know, we had brought in one of our daughter's friends. She was having a rough time in life, and we let her move in with us, and until she got things going well. And now we were able to get her to her grandparents a couple states over, so it really helped change her life. But I had one daughter working at an ice cream place and another one working at Dunkin' Donuts. So tell me, you know, when you're in that fat loss journey, that, hey, yeah, guess what was coming home? And I'm like, nope, I'm fine. I don't need that. I need to better myself so I'm here for you guys. And that's things, you know, like I said, those little steps. But
so it's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not get one than to get an opportunity and not be prepared. So good for you.
I love that. And on that note, Mike, thank you so much for stopping by and coming in tonight. We feel blessed that we were able to do this. And man, I can't say how much I appreciate this and you coming in. It really means a lot to me. And at the end of the day, like I tell people, you know, you just have to ask, right? Be that asshole, get out there, ask those things, because that's how we got Mike on here, right? It was amazing. So Mike, thanks for stopping in. Anything else you want to let anybody say before we get you out of here?
Man, just remember from Mike Quist, you got this. I'll see you on the next video.
Love that. Man, you talk about an amazing show. What'd you guys think of that? What did you think of that? Like, I'm ready. I'm ready to go celebrate tonight and have an amazing time. Man, I don't know what more to do, but I do know what we can do is we can talk more about this tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, we'll be in with Morning Mindset. Tomorrow night, we have our Unlock Canva training. That is at 7 p.m. Central. And remember, you can get into that for only $5. And then Tuesday with Todd, I think we are going to do some sublimation on some doormats. I do believe we're going to try and try that out. You know, if we're going to do our best for it. And I think we're going to pull it off. And I'm going to try something I've never, ever done before. And you know where I'm going to try it? Live with you guys, because that is how we roll with it. So I thank you for showing up tonight. Please like, subscribe, share. And this was an amazing one. So share this as much as you can. You guys have an amazing night, and we will see you on the next one. See you guys. I got to hit end broadcast. See, I'm still screwing up. That's what we do.